Ladies and gentlemen, please listen close. This one is for you. You didn't slam the door. You didn't beg for them to see your worth. You didn't fight to prove your value. You just walked away, quietly, without drama, without explanation. And they thought that silence meant weakness. They thought your absence meant defeat. They thought you had nothing left to say. But what they forgot is that when you remove yourself, God steps in. And when God handles things, He does it loudly. So loudly that even those who ignored your pain have no choice but to notice your rise. You, see, your silence was never surrender. It was strategy, because sometimes the most powerful move you can make is not to react, not to explain, not to justify, but to let God speak through the results they cannot deny. Pause for a second. If this is your first time here, subscribe right now, like this video, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, because you need to be part of this movement. A movement of people who refuse to bow down to betrayal or disrespect. And for those who've been here before, thank you. You are the backbone of this channel. Your loyalty fuels this fire. Now, listen closely. Walking away quietly is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It means you valued your peace over their chaos, your dignity over their games, your destiny over their approval. And that is where God shows His hand. Because when you protect your peace, God multiplies it. When you refuse to fight battles beneath you, God elevates you to a war they cannot win. When you let go of people who played with you, God replaces them with people who pray for you. Remember this. Silence doesn't mean you lost. It means you trusted God to win for you. Look at Martin Luther King Jr. He didn't raise his voice in violence. He walked in disciplined silence. He marched with faith. And God amplified his message so loudly that decades later his dream is still shaking nations. Look at Nelson Mandela. 27 years in a cell. He could have shouted. He could have cursed. He could have broken down, but he chose silence and endurance. And when he walked free, God handled everything loudly, turning a prisoner into a president. Look at Malala Yousafzai, silenced by a bullet meant to end her. She could have lived quietly in fear, but she walked away from that darkness, and God raised her voice louder than her enemies ever imagined. A voice that continues to fight for millions of children worldwide. Do you see the pattern? The world confuses silence with weakness, but God turns silence into thunder. You don't have to clap back at every insult. You don't have to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding. You don't have to stay where you are not valued. Because when you walk away quietly, God becomes your defender, And God has a way of settling the score so publicly that the same people who mocked you are forced to watch Him bless you. Here's a truth you need to absorb deep into your bones. When you stop fighting for attention, you make space for God's elevation. When you stop chasing people, you make space for God's alignment. When you stop lowering yourself to be understood, you make space for God to set you apart. They thought they had the last laugh when you walked away, but they underestimated who was about to step in. And now God is preparing to show them that your silence was not the end. It was the beginning. So stop looking back. Stop regretting the walk away. Stop replaying what you should have said, because you said everything you needed to say with your silence, and God heard it louder than any scream. Think about it. Every powerful move in history was birthed out of restraint, not reaction. Rosa Parks didn't shout when she refused to give up her seat. She Saturday quietly, and her silence sparked a movement louder than any argument could have. Sometimes, stillness is the spark that lights the loudest fire. This is where your mindset has to shift. Your silence is not emptiness. Your silence is evidence of faith. It is proof that you trust God more than you trust people. It is proof that you know your worth does not require an audience. It is proof that you believe outcomes are louder than arguments. And here's the part they don't understand. The God who hears prayers in whispers knows how to answer them in ways the whole world can see. So, when you walk away quietly, God moves loudly, in promotions, in peace, in breakthroughs, in blessings so visible that even your enemies have to admit they were wrong. But you've got to stay disciplined. Don't run back to chaos because you're afraid of silence. Don't shrink yourself to fit back into spaces God has already pulled you out of. And don't waste energy proving yourself to people who never wanted to see your value in the first place. Walk away quietly, then watch God make the noise. Because the truth is, what God can do in one moment of favor is louder than a lifetime of trying to explain yourself to the wrong people.